Change the direction of your life in one day. You can do it, and I'm about to tell you how. Let's get into it. Three keys to change your life starting today. One day can change every day going forward. Let's talk about that. If you want to take a new direction in your life, it's all about taking the very first step. There is an area not far from my house where sometimes I go through when I take the long way to work. I believe it's called Five Corners. And the reason it is because it's literally five corners. There's these five stop signs. And when you stop at this unusual looking intersection, whichever way you turn takes you in a completely different direction. It takes you to a whole new destination. We are faced with those kinds of choices every single day in our lives. Every moment of every day, you get opportunities to change your direction, to move in a whole new path in a whole new way. But the problem is, our brains like to walk familiar paths. So we have to make a decision on how to take a new path if we want to do that on a regular basis. I want to talk to you about three things to help you forge a new path. The very first step is imagination, as SpongeBob used to say. I want to challenge you to imagine what your life would look like if you stepped out of the norm and you turned in a brand new direction, if you went down a new path. Neville Goddard, one of the original manifestors and New Thought persons who gave us so much of what New Thought looks like today and how to change the direction of your life by changing your thinking, who taught us that we become what we believe, that thoughts become things. Neville Goddard had this practice that I absolutely love, and it was an hour of power. Now, that's not what he called it, but that's what I call it. It's taking 1 hour to just simply visualize your life as if you were living the life of your dreams. Now, what does that look like and what does that do? Hey guys, it's Jim, y'all, your friendly personal growth coach. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe to the channel, go ahead and do that right now below. Hit the bell icon if you want to get notified of upcoming videos. I want to make videos that help you become your best you. Tell me in the comments what it is that you're aspiring to do with your life, to be with your life. Tell me what some of the challenges are that you're facing in doing that, and I want to make some videos that'll help you with that. Now, back to what we're talking about today. First of all, how we do that, what it looks like, is you begin to visualize, to imagine, and to completely immerse yourself in the life of your dreams. Do you know where it is you want to go? Do you know the life you want to live? Is it to buy a new dream home? Is it a new job? Is it a new direction to start your own business, a new relationship? Whatever it is, picture yourself for 1 hour doing that and take off all the limits. Do not let your mind drift to how you're going to make that happen. Do not let your mind drift to the impossible task that lies ahead of you. Do not let your mind drift to the obstacles that are before you. For 1 hour, give your mind freedom to celebrate the life you've always wanted, to live there as if it is happening right now. You can do this at work. You can do this while you're in your factory job, in your office job, you're in your car, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, take 1 hour to feel the feelings of the life you've always wanted. What would it look like? What would it feel like? What would it taste like? What would it be like to live that dream life? Let yourself get immersed in that experience for an hour. I think one of the reasons we love movies and we love television series that suck us in on Netflix so much is because they let us escape reality and live in an imaginary world. And we get so drawn into that world, it becomes real to us while we're there. That is the secret to painting the life of your dreams. Thoughts become things. You become what you believe. And that all starts with allowing yourself the freedom to paint a mental picture, a vivid picture, and attach strong emotion to that picture through feeling as if you're living that life now. Here is a way I do it on kind of micro doses of that real life lived out to the full in the now before it ever happens. Here's how I imagine it in little doses. I have a Volkswagen Jetta and it's a manual. My dream car is a Porsche 911 Turbo, one of the classic ones. Often driving my Volkswagen, I imagine that I'm driving that 911. And let me tell you what, it's become so real to me. Often, I don't think I even need the 911. I feel like I'm in the 911 when I'm in the Volkswagen because I've imagined it so many times. That is how you paint reality in the moment in your mind. When you start doing that, you start changing your life and you start changing your destiny. That's step one. Step number two, begin to acknowledge that your mind paints the reality of your life. It all starts right in here. Michelangelo once said, after he had sculpted the famous statue of David, that he looked at that block of marble and he said, I created a vision of David in my mind and I simply carved away everything that wasn't David. In our lives, we need to visualize the life we want and begin to slowly carve away all the things that are keeping us from that life. Begin to believe that it's possible. It all starts right here in your brain, in your mind. When you start to believe it, it sounds cliche, but you can achieve it. Joe Dispenza says it this way: neurons that fire together wire together. In your brain, as you think thoughts, you are creating neural pathways for information to flow along. Now, the way our brain works, because it stays in this mode of safety, and it has for years and years and years to keep humans safe, back when we had to flee from tigers and bears and things like that on a consistent basis, it's always trying to keep you in a safe space. So your mind naturally moves along familiar neural pathways. It's very much like walking through a field of tall grass. When you first walk through that tall grass, you're pushing it out of your way, you're trampling it under your feet, and it's not easy to get through. But when you begin to walk that same path again and again and again, the grass gets beat down and it gets pushed out of the way, and it becomes very easy to walk along that same familiar path. That's the way your brain works. But the good thing is you can use neural plasticity to your favor. And that just means the ability to wire new neural paths in your mind, to form new paths through the high grass. It'll be difficult at first. When you first visualize for that hour of power, the life you want, it will not be easy. Your brain will drift and you'll move in different directions. And along the way, after you've done that, you'll see obstacles. Things will pop up and you'll think, I can't. And you have to remind yourself, I can. The only difference in somebody who does something and somebody who does not do something is belief. It's the faith that you can do it. When you believe you can do it, you can do it. And it all starts in the mind, creating those neural pathways. So when you begin to walk new paths in your mind, guess what? Those old neural pathways shrivel up and they eventually die. And pretty soon you're walking new neural pathways. You're believing new things and it's affecting everything in your life. I started this practice almost a year ago next month. And I began to think new thoughts and new directions. I'd always been a pretty positive person, but I'd seen a lot of my dreams blow up in front of my face and not be achieved. What changed for me was when I began to say, this is all about belief. I've always had this voice in the back of my head that says, Jim, you're not good enough. You're not talented enough. You're not quite there. You're good, but you're not great. And I've heard that and I've listened to it over and over and over. And it's sidetracked so many of my dreams. Well, for the last year, I've not allowed those pathways to form. When they pop up, I shut them down and I think back along the new neural paths. And guess what? I have forged this way through the high grass that is changing everything for me. The way I think has completely changed. What I believe about myself has completely changed. Opportunities have begun to present themselves in my life that are unbelievable. Quick story: I work in car sales right now, and I'm building a personal growth coaching business, doing things like these videos and these podcasts with you guys. And I'm in the car sales industry, it can kind of be cutthroat, every man for themselves type environment. At my dealership, we're connected to 3 stores along this kind of car sales corridor. And I recently, all 3 of those stores come together for a Monday morning meeting. And they asked me, Jim, would you start leading our Monday morning meeting and kicking off our week with some thoughts on positivity? So now every week I take about 15 minutes and I talk about positivity and how it impacts our life. It's so weird that that fell into my life. How does something like that happen in the industry I work in? I tell you how. I began to think in new paths, and new opportunities presented themselves. And the new Jim has said yes, and more and more and more of my horizon is expanding and expanding. And now I'm beginning to believe that anything is really possible, and it's changing my life. So, step one, take an hour of power break and figure out what life you want and let yourself live it to the full. The more you do that, the more powerful that gets. Step number two, realize it starts in the mind. You become what you believe. Thoughts become things. Begin to believe that you can change your life, and you will change your life when that starts to happen. And then step three is the hard part. Going to be straight with you. Consistency. Just keeping on. Just keep doing it. The more you move in the right direction, and the longer you move in the right direction, the more good things you're going to see happening in your life, and the more you're going to attract to yourself. About a year ago, when I started this journey, one of the things I committed to was over on my TikTok channel, a video a day, 5 days a week on positivity. And I've done that, and that seemed daunting at the time. Now, every morning I get up and I look forward to making that video. Lots of times I do videos 6 or 7 times a week or more, because I've so fallen in love with that process of communicating with people and sharing positivity and watching the message grow and watching what happens. And now all of these opportunities are beginning to open up to me, and these new ideas have opened up to me over this last year. I have a coaching business that I've started that's beginning to take form and take shape. All that stuff came out of changing my mind and starting to take consistent steps toward my dreams. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? One step at a time. When you come to the five corners intersection of the possibilities in your life, I want to challenge you to take a new path, to take a new direction. And when you do that, you are setting out on a journey that can change everything for you. But the key is, once you make that turn, stay on that path. Start taking steps in the right direction and see what changes for you. When you begin to take an hour of power and believe unhinged and unlimited that you can do anything, and you start then to build new neural pathways in your mind and then consistently reinforce those pathways, you will change your life. And I can't wait to hear how much it changes for you. Tell me in the comments, what do you want to change? If you're already on this journey, tell me something that has changed. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Join us on this channel. We share this content all the time. I love you guys. Have a great week and go be great.